author of Unfreedom of the Press. Mark, thank you so much for being here. Yesterday, after our show, we have a pitch meeting, and everyone said, who do we need to hear from tomorrow? And universally, it was Mark Levin. Give us your take with this opening in the Supreme Court. What should the president do, and where's this going to go?
Well, it's a very strange thing, this Democrat Party. First of all, they hate the Constitution because they spent the last several months pulling down statues of the founders and saying that the Constitution was adopted by slaveholders. Then they wave it around to justify their destruction of the Constitution. Let's be very, very clear. Let me read you a quote. That's their job. There's nothing in the Constitution that says the president stops being president in his last year. 8 is not a good number for a collegial body that sometimes disagrees. That was Ruth Bader Ginsburg in 2016. But this seat doesn't belong to Ruth Bader Ginsburg. It doesn't belong to anybody. It's in the Constitution, and the American people and the president has a say. Now, under our constitutional system, as Will has said and you both have said, the president makes a nomination. Now, what the Democrats want to do is sabotage this entire process. There's an excellent piece in National Review, Dan McLaughlin. Here's what he says. 29 times in American history, you've heard this because they're all reading the same column, there has been an open Supreme Court vacancy in a presidential election or a lame duck session before the next presidential inauguration. Please listen, America, this is important. The president made a nomination in all 29 cases. George Washington did it 3 times. John Adams did it. Thomas Jefferson did it. Abraham Lincoln did it. Ulysses S. Grant did it. Franklin Roosevelt did it. Dwight Eisenhower did it. Barack Obama, of course, did it. 22 of the 44 men to hold the office face this situation. Now 23. All 22 made the decision to set up a nomination, send it up, whether or not they had the votes in the Senate. So in every single instance in a situation like this, a president has made a nomination. Why? Because it's compelled by the Constitution. So when I listen to Susan Collins and Romney and Murkowski and the other Republicans who say this would be political, this would be unfair, they are failing to uphold their oath to the Constitution of the United States. We don't take an oath to the Democrat Party. We don't take an oath to Chuck Schumer. We didn't take an oath to Ruth Bader Ginsburg. God bless her, one of the most left-wing political active justices in American history, which is why the left is freaking out. Also, the American people understand this. The New York Post has a poll out. Most Americans, regardless of whether they are Republican or Democrat, believe the Senate should move forward with confirmation hearings for a Supreme Court justice this year. It's a Marquette University Law School poll. 67% of respondents believe confirmation should proceed in 2020, while just 32% say no. That was conducted September 8 to September 15, just days before the passing of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. So according to the Democrats, the whole country should stop. The Supreme Court should stop. The president shouldn't uphold the Constitution. The majority in the Senate shouldn't uphold the Constitution because they hope Joe Biden will be elected president, that they'll take the Senate. Now, what are they threatening? To pack the court. The last president to do that was Franklin Roosevelt. You know who stopped him? The Democrat Congress. Because the Democrat Congress said, Constitution before party. His own vice president worked behind his back, a former Speaker of the House, to stop Franklin Roosevelt. Today, Democrat after Democrat, starting with Biden on down, says they're going to pack the court if the President of the United States fails to comply with the Constitution and if the Senate fails to comply with the Constitution. So choosing not to fill this vacancy would be unprecedented in American history. Democrat, Republican, Federalist, Whig president, it doesn't matter. This party, the Democrat Party, is so far off the rails, it is appalling. What are they proposing? They want to eliminate the Electoral College. That's in the Constitution. We talked about packing the Supreme Court. My buddy Bongino had an idea, and I like it. You pack the court, then when we take over, we'll add a few more justices too. So you better be careful what door you're opening here. They want to overrule the state, they overwhelm the state voting systems with mail-in votes that they know will create all kinds of chaos on election night. They're telling Biden, never concede. Hillary Clinton, don't concede under any circumstances.
They want to end the Senate filibuster. They want to add 4 Democrats to the Senate from D.C. and Puerto Rico. The Democrat Party is the party of Antifa, the party of Black Lives Matter. You have Nancy Pelosi calling federal law enforcement stormtroopers. You had Jim Clyburn talking about federal law enforcement as Gestapo. They were silent for 3 months while lawless riots are taking place. Now they're encouraging them. You have Democrat spokesmen for former Clinton and Obama officials saying out there, you do this, not only will this justice be illegitimate, but we're going to take to the streets. So now we have a mob, and the mob has a home, and it's called the Democrat Party. And I'm going to tell you something. This mob, one way or another, will be crushed. If they're not crushed at the voting booth, they will be crushed otherwise. Because what they have in sight is not even Donald Trump. It's our Constitution. You heard AOC. She is a reprobate. She is a radical. She is illiterate when it comes to the Constitution. And she is leading this party. She and the rest of them must be defeated.
Mark, you were just laying out for us the Democratic response to losses. It was most stark in the presidential election 4 years ago, questioning the legitimacy of the election results. But as you were laying out, this has taken place when it comes to state houses, the House of Representatives, the Senate, and now we're seeing with threats to pack the court with the Supreme Court as well. The response to a loss has been to question the legitimacy of the results and the legitimacy of our government. But it's not hard to see now, Mark, is it? They're laying it out literally. I want to read you a couple of tweets just in the last 24 hours. This is from Reza Aslan. He used to have a show on CNN. He said, when it comes to making a nomination in 2020, over our dead bodies, literally. And Hollywood's Rob Reiner said, Ruth Bader Ginsburg's body isn't even cold, and Mitch McConnell is dancing on her grave. This is war. Dems have powerful weapons. Now is the time to use them. What's your reaction, Mark?
Well, these are reprobates. These are people who are going to stoke violence. These are people who have not spoken out against the violence. And I just want the American people to understand a few things here. Number one, the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is under attack by the left. If they can't control a majority with a bunch of activists, they're going to attack it. And so they're trying to destroy that. They are prepared to destroy that institution. You know, there's a history here. A few years back, the D.C. Court of Appeals, Harry Reid and Obama got together and they added extra seats to the D.C. Court of Appeals. So they would have a majority of the D.C. Court of Appeals. What you're seeing here is a complete breakdown of constitutionalism by people who wave the Constitution around but really don't believe in it. I'll give you a perfect example. Schumer threatened 2 Supreme Court justices not that long ago. You might recall Kavanaugh and Gorsuch. If they didn't rule the right way, he warned them that something would happen. You remember that? An ethics complaint was filed against him, nothing happened. They don't believe in the independence of the Supreme Court. They want to control the Supreme Court. What they're doing now is not only threatening to add seats to the Supreme Court if the president follows his oath, if the senators follow their oath. What they're doing now is threatening the existing members of the Supreme Court, warning them that we can control you anytime we want. And I notice for the most part, the news media just sits there and reports it like it's not a big deal. This is a huge big deal. I also want to remind the American people that Joe Biden, Chuck Schumer, and Ted Kennedy have destroyed the confirmation process. When George W. Bush was president of the United States, they used the filibuster like no Congress has ever, my Senate has ever used it. One nominee after another, they either used it or threatened to use it to control the circuit courts when they were in the minority. Then when they flip and they're in the majority of the Senate, what did they do? They eliminated the filibuster rule to ram through as many federal circuit court judges as they can. What else have they done? Okay, they said, we believe that a president should be able to make a nomination whenever a vacancy occurs. Obama's an example. What are they saying today? No, we got to wait till after the election for the people to speak. First of all, this isn't a pure democracy. This isn't a parliament. But the people spoke. In 2016, we have a president of the United States. The Democrats have done everything they can to undermine him, to eviscerate his administration, to criminalize his administration, to remove the president of the United States, and then they sit there and they pretend that they're the ones who are being put off. This is a party that is following a Saul Alinsky Stalinist model. I can't put it any other way. And they're taking it into the election. And Joe Biden,
Joe Biden was the leader of the pack, destroying the nomination process, destroying the Supreme Court. He was the leader of the pack, which is why he was hiding yesterday, because he didn't want to talk about the vacancy of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. The American people should know, we own this government. We own this country. We own every damn seat on that Supreme Court. It didn't belong to Ruth Bader Ginsburg. It doesn't belong to the Democrat Party. And when these people take an oath, they take it to the Constitution of the country, not the Democrat Party. The president likes to say the media is the enemy of the people. I hate to tell you, he's right in many respects. But the Democrat Party is a diabolical institution that's getting worse and worse. It has a diabolical history, whether it is slavery, segregation, Jim Crow, or today, this so-called socialism, whatever it is, it's really Marxism. Look at every institution under attack. Our school systems are under attack. A vaccine is under attack. Our borders are under attack. The courts are under attack. Everything's under attack with the current Democrat Party because their attitude is, if we can't control everything, then burn it down. They're the mob in the street without Molotov cocktails. That's exactly what the modern Democrat Party is today.
You know, Mark, the Supreme Court is going to be a key issue for voters. And we saw in the last election cycle, when you looked at that exit polling, one of the key reasons that people voted for President Trump is that they did not trust Hillary Clinton's potential Supreme Court picks. When you couple that issue with law and order and the violence that you see emerging and the rioting in so many cities across the country, when you see the defund the police movement, I don't see how people embrace the Democrat Party of 2020. I just don't see how that's possible.
I agree with you. And you know what's interesting, Jed? What is the president going to do? He's going to nominate somebody to the Supreme Court who he believes will be faithful to the Constitution. Since when is that controversial? The president wants to nominate people who are faithful to the Constitution, who will follow the Constitution, who will read the wording, try and discern what the framers of the Constitution and the ratifiers meant, and try and apply it. So that has become now radical for the Democrat Party. They call them right-wingers and regressive and so forth. So now embracing and following our magnificent Constitution, which the Democrats hate, which the left hates, which their surrogates hate, that now is considered some kind of extreme right-wing kind of thing. And if we don't get to replace Ruth Bader Ginsburg with a likewise former ACLU or whatever radical justice, then we're going to burn the system down. The American people, this is up to us. Are we going to stand up for our Constitution? Are we going to stand up for our courts? Are we going to protect this system where we have men and women today, and I'll say, at one hellhole after another overseas, defending this system when they carry the flag in the war, when they believe they're defending the Constitution and the rule of law? We have a party in this country, a fifth column, that is undermining our government, undermining our system. They embrace a group called Black Lives Matter that has as its mission the destruction of the United States. They embrace Antifa by not criticizing it by name, a Marxist anarchist organization that is attacking cops with lasers and Molotov cocktails. This is the modern-day Democrat Party. The radicals of the 1960s now run that damn party. It not only needs to be defeated, it needs to be crushed, or we are going to lose our precious Constitution, our precious liberty, and our founding principles. Look, they want to take over the Supreme Court. They're telling us this. They want to destroy the Senate. They are telling us this. They're in the midst of destroying our electoral system today as I speak. They're not only telling us this, they're acting on it. America better wake up, and it better wake up fast.
Yeah, we are wise to listen to people when they say they are going to do things. Mark Levin, you exceeded our expectations. You gave us way more time than we thought we would get. Thank you so much for your insight.